I've never been a guy who likes surprises, and I've definitely never liked strangers showing up at my door pretending they belong there. But that morning, standing on the porch of my grandfather's old oceanfront cottage with a hot mug of coffee in my hand, I knew something was off the second I saw that shiny sedan creeping down the gravel road. The Atlantic breeze was just right, sharp enough to keep you awake, soft enough to carry the smell of salt and pine. And then here comes this car like it owns the place. Three of them got out, all wearing matching navy polos with Bayshore Bluffs Community Council stitched over the chest. They looked about as natural against that rugged shoreline as a mall kiosk in the middle of the Rockies. The woman in the middle had that fake overbright smile you see on bad real estate ads. She stuck out her hand like it was some kind of legal requirement. "Good morning," she said. "You must be Mr. Hale. I'm Veronica Price, acting president of the HOA here. These are my colleagues, Brent and Mallory." I nodded, didn't shake her hand. "You selling something?" She laughed too loudly, like she'd practiced it in the mirror. "Oh no, not at all. We actually came with a proposal. Now, when someone starts talking like that before you've even invited them to sit down, it's never a good sign." She went on about how they admired how I'd kept up the property, called it a local landmark. And then came the pitch, said they were in a bind because their community clubhouse was under renovation. Temporary housing was short, and they were hoping I'd hand over a spare set of keys to my cottage for just a few days. In return, she said I'd get honorary access to the HOA amenities, pool, gym, social events. She called it a win-win. I stared at her like I was waiting for the punchline. "You do realize this place isn't part of your HOA, right?" Her smile didn't flinch. She started talking about blurry parcel lines and shared community environments, like a bunch of made-up terms were going to magic her way onto my deed. I cut her off. "My grandfather bought this land in '66. It's private property, and there's no universe where I'm giving you keys." That's when her smile shifted, tightened around the edges. She stood a little straighter, voice flattening. "If you refuse to cooperate, we may have to explore other avenues." I pulled my phone out, hit record. "Could you repeat that last part?" Her eyes flickered. "We'll have to review your use of community access roads and local zoning compliance." I almost laughed. "You should check the county records before you invent legal phrases. And just so you know, everything you've said is being recorded. If I see one person on this property without my permission, I'll call the sheriff." No warning. Brent shifted like his shoes were too tight. Mallory looked away. Veronica's fake warmth drained like someone pulled the plug. They left tires grinding over the gravel. That should have been the end. But 2 days later, I'm in a hotel conference room 2 states away, pretending to care about some vendor presentation, when my phone buzzes. Motion alert, rear entrance. I open the camera feed, and there they are. 2 guys in HOA polos walking through my side gate like they were heading into their own backyard. One had a clipboard, the other a set of lockpicks. I hit the intercom, step away from the door. "You're on camera. The sheriff's already on the way." They froze, bolted like they'd kicked a hornet's nest, and jumped into an HOA-marked SUV. I gave the footage to the deputies within the hour. Turned out one of them was on the HOA's facilities committee, the other a cousin, conveniently an off-duty locksmith. Then came the letter. Thick envelope, embossed logo, all official looking, until you actually read it. According to them, my cottage was a contingent auxiliary asset under a neighborhood ordinance from 1984, an ordinance that doesn't exist. They'd even photocopied some grainy map with my lot highlighted in yellow like a highlighter pen gave them ownership rights. I called a surveyor. I trust old guy named Walter. We walked the perimeter, found the original boundary markers from half a century ago. Walter stamped the map and handed it to me. "Not even close to HOA jurisdiction," he said. "This thing they sent you looks like somebody's nephew made it in Microsoft Paint." I sent them a cease and desist with Walter's report attached. Thought that might scare them off. Nope. One Friday I came home to no power. The electric meter had been removed clean, like a pro had done it. The utility company told me the HOA authorized the shutoff for community use. They'd forged my signature on the request. I had it all in writing within the day. I upgraded my locks, added more cameras, including a fisheye that caught the only blind spot left. That's when I found the trail cam hidden under my rose bushes. Not mine. Someone had been recording my property without my knowledge. I bagged it for evidence, swept the dirt around it so I'd get footprints next time, and mounted a thermal camera above it. A week later, I got a knock at dawn. A man in a gray suit, early 50s, flanked by a younger woman with a notepad. He said his name was Leonard Cross, an independent arbitrator hired by the HOA. Handed me a manila envelope, told me I had one last chance to hand over the keys before further remedies were pursued. I leaned on the doorframe. You're not a court officer. You have no authority here. This land isn't under your HOA, and no vote map or made-up bylaw is going to change that. The woman scribbled something and asked, "Is that a threat of legal resistance?" "No," I said. "That's a statement of fact." And I'm done explaining it. They left. My lawyer dug into their names. Cross had no arbitration credentials in the state. The woman was on the HOA payroll as a PR consultant. The whole thing was theater. The next week, I found a trailer parked halfway up my driveway, loaded with folding chairs and mattresses. A sign taped to a bin read, "Emergency Housing Supplies HOA Coordinated." No contact info, just staged. That's when I brought in a private investigator named Ray. He had a way of showing up where people didn't expect. Within days, he handed me photos, license checks, and the real jackpot internal HOA emails leaked by someone on the inside. My name was on a list labeled upcoming requisition targets. Next to it, keep pressure on, he'll fold. Prep trailer, fake repair notice under code 8D. That was it. I stopped playing defense. My lawyer filed a restraining order, a civil suit, and handed everything to the county prosecutor. They raided the HOA office, found fake notices, pre-filled access forms with blank signature lines, a folder of housing targets, even lock-picking tools in a drawer. My property was marked red on their spreadsheet, high priority. When they arrested Veronica at her house, Ray sent me a photo pink bathrobe yelling at deputies while they cuffed her. 2 board members resigned the same day. The court moved fast. HOA funds, frozen, authorities suspended, and within a month, the judge dissolved the whole thing. Veronica took a plea deal, 5 years in prison, full restitution to the owner she targeted. I went one step further, filed a restrictive covenant on my deed so no future owner could ever join an HOA without going to court, put up a 6-foot steel sign at my gate private property. Not subject to HOA. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Haven't had a single visit since unless you count the deer that wander through at night. The cameras still roll, but these days they just catch the ocean breeze and the occasional raccoon. And that's exactly how I want it. So what do you think? Was this just a few power-drunk neighbors pushing too far, or was it something worse from the start? Drop a comment and tell me where you draw the line when it comes to property rights and so-called community rules.